Hey everyone, over the last couple days I've been reviewing the new wave of Black Series figures. Today we're going to take a little bit of a more in-depth look at Darth Malak and Bastila Shan. The box art on these figures is absolutely on point. I think these look amazing, and these are number 20 and 21 in the Gaming Greats line. And then on the back we see the renders of the figures, just giving a little bit more of an idea of what they look like, since these are in plastic-free packaging. And then over here on the side we have the sizes listed. We have Darth Malak at 6.5 inches, which is very tall, and Bastila at 5.7. This is one of the final waves of plastic-free packaging, although I think the following wave with the Pike Soldier and the Tusken Chieftain are going to still have that plastic-free. This one does feature something a little bit different. Once we open the paper burrito, we have a little bit of a cardboard protector and this little piece of paper here just protecting the chest plate. That's not something that I've seen before with the packaging. Overall, this figure is extremely impressive. He has the sort of presence on the shelf and in hand that a Darth Vader figure has, or one of these larger figures. I'm really surprised that this is actually not a deluxe figure. I think that would have been pretty justified given the amount of paint detail. For instance, just like the little studs on the back of his head there and the dry brushing of the scars on the face, as well as just like all the detail on the little chest plate there. Really impressed overall here. Given the nature of the character design, there is not a ton of articulation. You can get the head up and down at a slight angle, and you can get him looking left at right, but nothing too intense. And these fit nicely onto the face. They just clip in using two little pegs on the back, and then they kind of fit into each other in the front. Pretty simple to get on and off. I was a little surprised to see the difference in red in the chest plate versus the rest of the body, but I realized that the chest plate is armor and then the rest of the body is supposed to be cloth. So I might cover the chest plate and then do a matte spray on the body. This actually fits really nicely in the little back lightsaber holder here, although, you know, that's going to be under his cape, and so there's really no reason to display that there, but just a cool little feature that they included. And the lightsaber itself actually looks really nice. It's always exciting to see a new lightsaber design in the Black Series. We have some hidden butterfly joints under the armor here, and these are kind of a necessity with lightsaber wielding characters, although the sculpt of the armor just kind of prevents too much movement, although you can get up to the side at around 90 degrees. And then I was really impressed to see how far that single jointed elbow can bend. If they can continue making single jointed elbows that bend like this, then there's really just no need for double jointed elbows. The knees, also single joints, don't really bend that far past 90, but how many of us really can bend our knees that far anyway? He can get the lightsaber into both hands here. I was trying to get him into the pose that we see on the box with his arms outstretched a little bit while still holding. I was having trouble with that. It didn't really feel like a possibility. I was a little disappointed in the lack of foot swivel here, but the tilt up and down was actually quite smooth. It's not like those trooper ankles where they kind of snap into place. This felt like a little bit more of a smoother movement there, which I hope we see in more figures going forward, because you know how frustrating that is when you've got your figure in a position and the foot is either too high or too low, and you need it to be kind of right in between. But overall, really impressed with this figure. Really nice quality. Feels like a 2023 Black Series figure. I know I talk about that a lot on my channel, but I think it's really important to note. And it just has such an amazing presence and amount of detail, considering that this is just a mainline figure. And I'll show you some comparisons to the other Knights of the Old Republic figures at the end of the video if you're concerned about height differences to Revan and that sort of thing. Next we have Bastila Shan. This figure right out of the package looks great. I was really happy to see that neither of these figures have too much shine to them. Decent articulation at the elbow. We do have the double jointed Aura Singh legs here with those ugly pins. It does give for a little bit more of a range of motion, not as much in the swivel portion of the foot, and then also just front and back you get that kind of clicky joint that we see on some of the older figures. I was a little disappointed in how wide the grip on her hands are. This is kind of like the Ahsoka figure where, you know, you try to get her holding a lightsaber and it's just a very loose grip. In terms of sculpt, I like the soft plastic here hiding the butterfly joints in the arms, although the butterfly joints themselves, again, don't give you too much motion, but she can get her arms pretty much right in front of her in Macarena style, which does assist in some of the lightsaber poses, especially since she's got to get both hands on the weapon here. The lightsaber itself has some nice detail on there with the black grip and then just the silver details. And this does have the kind of nice thicker blades that we feel on the newer Black Series figures. They're not super flimsy like Ahsoka's lightsabers. And again, not a ton of ab crunch here as well. The Mara Jade and Dr. Aphra figures we got recently on the Jaina Solo body had a crazy amount of ab crunch, like a lot of the Marvel Legends figures, but that's not really the case here as much. I don't really feel the need for that though, to be honest. She does have a nice vertical hinge on both wrists, so you can get the lightsaber kind of pointing downward, which is how I usually like to display a lot of my dual wielders, the way that it looks on her box, because it saves a lot of room on the shelf and you don't have the lightsaber blocking other characters. And now for the comparisons, we have Darth Revan on the left, Zaalbar the Wookiee, and Darth Nihilus all the way there on the right on the tiny Darth Maul body. He should definitely be a bit taller, but I think that Malak's height compared to Revan looks pretty good. It's kind of hard to tell the exact height difference between Revan and Malak just because I feel like everything I've seen of them, it's a little bit different. It looks like Revan is a little bit taller than Bastila here, but here he looks like Malak is shorter in both of these, but it's hard to tell the perspective because we can't see their legs, so it's really difficult to actually tell. But this kind of matches my headcanon here, especially since the Revan figure has been out for a few years and it just kind of feels like that's his correct height because I've gotten used to it at this point. Please leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. If you are new to the channel, remember, you can always subscribe. Here are some other videos on my channel that you might enjoy, and I'll see you next time.